that after all that happened in 2020, there is little that will shock us when it comes to scheduling for the 2021 sports. With Olympics, Euro, a Cricket World Cup, not to forget multiple Grand Slams and franchisee competitions, all there to consume, every month in 2020 has a high-profile event lined up. Most importantly, crowds have also started to make their way back to the stadium. While the India-Australia series is being played to near full houses, Japan is planning to allow entry of spectators to every Olympic venue. While COVID remains a major concern, there are ways to keep it at bay. In this edition of Sports 360, we will take a look at the future of sports amid pandemic. How does sports will look like in 2021 and what to expect from the sports world in 2021. With the major sports event including the likes of Tokyo Olympics, Euro Championship, T20 World Cup postponed by a year, 2021 will see a packed calendar. Exclusive interaction with World Boxing Championship medalist Gaurav Biduri. He is the fourth Indian boxer who ever got a medal at the World Boxing Championship. Jurgen Klopp's champions failed to tighten grip at the top of the EPL table. Liverpool's recent away from Anfield has been poor. The draw against Newcastle, Liverpool with just 2 wins from 7 away matches so far this season. And apart from this, we also have our regular segments, Goal of the Week, Player of the Week and the best sporting moments of 2020. But first up, the cover story we are tracking this week. Last March put a pause on the live sports, leaving millions of fans wondering when they will be a part of the action again. But over the months, some sporting events have returned, although the number of fans in the stands is limited. In 2021, we will see extensive safety measures put in place and limited attendance of fans might become a norm. Here is what we can expect next year to happen in sports.
New protocols for training competitions. Coaches, top sportspersons, sports federations are all working individually and together to look for new protocols once some sense of normalcy returns and training and competitions resume. Everyone involved will have to find a way which suits a particular age group. Sports with lesser or no fans. Another change we witnessed was how the regular games were hosted in their own way. With stands almost empty and absence of the supportive roars from fans, the players still pushed forward. In 2021, sports with lesser or no fans might become the new normal, as we have seen some sports already implementing this practice. The NHL, NBA and WNBA already hosted some of their title games in this manner. The US Open and PGA Championship and the Masters were played with no spectators. Even some of the important championships like the British Open and Wimbledon were cancelled as well. Another major change in the sports world was the postponement of the Tokyo Summer Olympics from 2020 to July-August 2021. It is the first time that the Summer Olympics is postponed. Uncertain future. Sports represents one of the largest industries in the world, and that business is in trouble. The global value of the sports industry is estimated at $756 billion annually. In the face of COVID-19, many millions of jobs were therefore at risk globally, not only for sports professionals, but also for those in related retail and sporting services industries connected with leagues and events, which include travel, tourism infrastructure, transportation, catering, and media broadcasting, among others. Indoors versus outdoors sports. Indoor sports are more likely to suffer in 2021. According to research, indoor venues will remain largely empty until the fourth quarter of 2021. Until people are vaccinated, it is entirely up to the fans when they feel safe enough to attend live sports events like before. Outdoor sporting events have better ventilation, which means spectators are safer as compared to indoor venues. It doesn't mean that outdoor events cannot spread the virus, but the fans have a better fighting chance in ventilated areas. Whether indoors or outdoors, sporting events in 2021 will have to implement safety measures like social distancing and masks as mandatory requirements. As the world changes along with the pandemic, we can expect sports to look different next year. Sports Desk, DD India.
The 2020 sports season was marred by the coronavirus pandemic, with most of the major sporting events either postponed or cancelled altogether. But 2020 brings new hope, hopes for a better year, hopes for better fortunes, and more importantly, hopes for a smooth sporting season Here we bring you the major sporting events lined up in 2021.
The third Grand Slam of the COVID era and the first to take place in the year when everyone hopes we return to some level of normalcy. Tennis in 2021 will resume with one of its Grand Slams, the Australian Open. The 2021 ISSF World Cup in New Delhi will be an important event for Indian marksmen. As of now, it will be held from the 18th to the 29th of March. Those who have already qualified for the Olympics will be looking to fine-tune their preparations. A European Championship like no other in more ways than one. Firstly, because it's taking place a year later than scheduled, and secondly, because it will see 24 teams compete across a host of cities including Rome, Baku, Dublin and Bilbao, with the semi-finals and final taking place at Wembley. The Showpiece event of 2020 will be the Showpiece event of 2021. Olympics 2021 was originally slated to get underway from 24th July to 9th August 2020 in Tokyo, but keeping in mind the safety and security of the athletes due to novel coronavirus pandemic, the marquee event is set to get underway in 2021 from the 23rd of July to the 8th of August. All being well, the 16th Summer Paralympic Games will see 537 events contested from 22 different sports, with badminton and taekwondo new additions to the program. The 7th ICC Men's T20 World Cup tournament was first scheduled to take place in Australia in 2020. However, it has officially been moved to India, where it will be played across October and November.
Today in Sports 360, you are joined by India's top-notch boxer Gaurav Biduri. Gaurav has quickly established himself as one of the best boxers in country. He became the 4th Indian boxer to win a medal at the World Boxing Championship to join a group of elite boxers. Gaurav sees an opportunity in the pandemic as he prepares to stake claim for the Olympic qualifier in the competitive 57 kg weight category. Gaurav, a very warm welcome to Sports 360. Gaurav, when did you realize that boxing is a career for you?
In the starting days, it was my dad who brought me into boxing. He opened his boxing club as he could not complete his dream of bringing medal for the country as he got early age marriage. So there he used to train all the nearby people. As a kid, I used to go there just for the fun, and there I used to learn boxing from my dad as well. I played my junior Delhi State Championship, junior national championship. I won gold over there, like that I did in the next year as well. So I got selected for the national camp. Over there, I got selected for the national team as well, and I played my first international competition and I performed good. So that time I thought like maybe my dream, my father's dream which he could not complete, maybe I can do that. So that time I chose boxing as my career as I was performing good. There was a situation like my mom wanted me to study because she has seen my dad getting hits and all. So she wanted me to study. My father wanted me to be a boxer. I was carrying both together. But ultimately when I played my junior world championship and all, I was performing good. That time I thought, yes, I can be a good boxer. So I chose boxing as my career.
Gaurav, how you sum up your journey so far in the boxing arena?
Like everyone, my journey was also a roller coaster, full of ups and downs. I also walked through both heaven and hell. There were many times when I thought of quitting and should stop boxing. The reason was because of my injuries, and people used to criticize me and my dad. Because I used to go in many international competitions and every time I lose in quarterfinals. Just a step behind confirming a medal for the country. Be it my Junior World Championship, Asian Games and Asian Championship, World Olympic Qualifier, and everywhere I was losing in quarterfinals. But I had a faith in myself, and it was my dad's dream which kept me going on. I used to train and I had a belief in myself, like one day I will definitely do that. So it was my 2008 when I played my first Junior World Championship. There I lost in quarterfinals. Since then I'm losing like that. Then I reached in the quarterfinals of this 2017 World Championship. Again I thought like maybe again I lose, but I had faith in myself. No, I'll break this barrier, and I broke that barrier, and I became the 4th Indian ever who got that medal in the World Championship. So if there is a will, there is a way. You have to have faith in yourself. Today or tomorrow, what you deserve you will get. So patience is the key. That's my round of journey.
You suffered a back injury which kept you out of the boxing for a long period. How you overcame that long and tough period?
Yes, injuries are part of sports, and we are into combat sports, so definitely we are prone to injuries. I was having that back issue, sciatica issue in 2017, but that year we were having our Asian Championship and World Championship. So with the pain and means I could not stand for 5-10 minutes, I couldn't walk for 5-10 minutes. So I was skipping those part of training which I was having so much of pain. So I played my world championship with the help of physios, and I did my training all together, and ultimately I got medal over there. But my injury, it got little worse. So in 2018, because of that, I could not participate in my Commonwealth Games and Asian Games. Yes, I was missing those because I was a current medal at that time, and I could bring easily in the medal in these events. But I missed that, and I was so upset. But I was having like, my dream is to bring medal at the Olympics, so that was still left. So I just thought, okay, these events I could not participate. I have my Olympic left, and now I made a comeback, and we have this Olympic qualifier coming up. And hopefully I'll qualify and I'll bring medal for the country.
Gaurav, you are the 4th Indian boxer to win a medal at the World Boxing Championship. How was that experience of being in an exclusive club of boxers? Are you planning to repeat that fate in your future?
The World Championship medal was the biggest turning point of my life. Before that, like, I was performing, I was in the national team, but no one was knowing me. So it is said, like, until unless you don't get medal at the big event, no one notice you. It doesn't matter how you perform. It just matters what counts. So I got that medal. People used to recognize me now. Like, yes, the World Championship bronze medalist, and of course I got into the elite group as well. But that time when I reached to the semi-finals, I thought, because we were three bronze that time, and I was the 4th. So we were all bronze medalists. I thought of breaking that bronze thing and coming to the finals or be a world champion. But somehow I just ended up in having bronze. But we're gonna have world championship again, and now Amit Pangal has got silver for the country. He's the first Indian to do so. So I congratulate him for that. But still, I can be a world champion now. So I wanna break that thing, and I will be the first Indian to be a world champion.
In the past few years, India has done exceptionally well in sporting arena. How government schemes like Khelo India are helping the young and budding athletes?
Past few years, we Indians are doing really good in sports, be it boxing or other sports. And I would say that is because of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our Sports Minister, because they are more and more emphasizing on sports. And they have started this Khelo India. Because of Khelo India, all the budding stars who means it's gonna make our country a sporting nation in the coming years. Until now, we are getting 1 or 2 medals at the Olympics. But all these budding stars who are getting this so much of exposure at the small age, they're coming live on national TV. When we were junior, we never came on TV, and though we were playing international events, but now they are getting this exposure. They're gonna means have that much confidence now in the coming years. So they're gonna get medal for the country at the Olympics, and I'm sure the numbers gonna rise like anything in the coming years, and our country gonna be a sporting nation, and that is because of this Khelo India and all this initiative which is taken by our government.
Gaurav, what impact the COVID-19 pandemic made on or your training schedule? Or what are the mental and physical challenges you faced during the pandemic?
Because of COVID, whole world got affected, and yes, our training also. We were in the national camp that time, preparing for our World Olympic qualifier, and we were sent back home because of COVID, and our lockdown started. So, like for a combat sports person, we need a sparring partner to train. We can't train alone. But I utilized that time, and I did fitness training in just my single room. And because of COVID, yes, many people got bad. Means everyone had a bad impact. But there are good things also which happened to us. So with me, I got to know myself better. I got into motivation speaking. I got into cooking, and I got time to spend with my family also. Otherwise, we are in the camp and competition, traveling. We never got time to spend with them. And the best thing which happened to me is I got married on 27th of November, and that too with Doordarshan employee Shivali Khari. So let's think what good happened to us, and welcome our 2021.
Gaurav, last question. What's your New Year resolutions?
One of the main things this COVID had taught me is making the best possible use of the time. So my New Year resolution is making the best possible use of the time, no matter what is the situation.
Gaurav, thanks for joining us on Sports 360, and the best wishes for upcoming tournaments. I appreciate your joining.
Thank you for having me in your show.
Liverpool ended 2020 just as they started it, at the top of the Premier League and in the pole position to end the season as champions. But a goalless draw against Newcastle at the St James Park proved that not everything is that same as it was 12 months ago. So what could be some of the reasons for Liverpool's loss of mojo? More in this report.
Severely depleted defence. The champions have lost Virgil van Dijk to a long injury, while fellow centre-backs Joe Gomez and Joel Matip are out of action. Midfielder Fabiano is expected to continue to fill in the next few games alongside either Nat Phillips or Rice Williams. The first goalless stalemate between these two clubs since 1974 highlighted the key difference between the Liverpool of today and the one that sprinted clear of the chasing pack in the first half last season. A year ago, Liverpool raked up the points by finding the killer touch in tight games and winning when the margins were narrow. But at St James Park, despite seeing the likes of Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino having clear chances to score, this Liverpool side was unable to unlock the door and turn 1 point into 3. That is becoming a recurring problem and explains why Liverpool enters 2021 locked in the title race rather than coasting at the top as they were a year ago. Lack of creativity in midfield. Collectively, Liverpool's array of midfielders have amassed just 3 goal-scoring assists all season. The goals are still made by the fullbacks, with 7 coming from deliveries by Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson. But opponents have learned how to smother Liverpool in the centre of the pitch. Struggling to score goals. In terms of goals, Klopp's men are only 3 behind last season's tally of 40 after 16 games. But the 7 scored at Palace distort the picture somehow. Having dropped points with draws against struggling West Bromwich, Fulham and Brighton and Hove Albion, their inability to score when it matters is an issue that Klopp accepts is now turning into a problem. Liverpool should have scored more than once at St James Park. Salah sent 2 close-range efforts wide. A year ago, they blew the rest away because they were so good at killing teams off. But now, their failure to do so that is keeping the title race alive. Sports Desk, DD India.
Indian debutants Mohammad Siraj and Shubman Gill displayed solid performances during India's 8-wicket win against Australia in the second test down under. Siraj and Gill's stories are similar, but their paths to Test cap have been very different. More in this report.
Looking to bounce back after the rout in Adelaide, India made a series of changes to their playing 11, including naming debutants Siraj and Shubman Gill for the second test. Pace bowler Siraj replaced the injured Mohammad Shami, and Gill came in for Prithvi Shaw, who's been struggling for form. In the way their fathers backed them, Siraj and Gill's stories are similar, but their paths to the Test cap have been very different. Gill's father, Lakhwinder Singh, had the means to support his son, who's played youth cricket for India. Team India opener Shubman Gill not only made a good mark in his Test debut at Melbourne, but has also impressed with his calm demeanour. The 21-year-old's living up to the expectations has cricket fans and experts, including former Australian cricketer Tom Moody, reckoning that the youngster is in for a long inning in international cricket. In the second test, Gill, who replaced Prithvi Shaw as an opener, scored 45 runs from 65 balls in the first innings and an unbeaten 35 in the second to comfortably guide the team, with skipper Ajinkya Rahane to register a famous 8-wicket win. While Siraj's father, Mohammad Ghaus, drove an auto rickshaw for a living, Siraj lost his father on November 20, around a week after the Indian team landed in Australia, and he could not return home due to COVID-19 restrictions. Siraj was a tennis ball cricketer who got hooked to the game after helping his school win an inter-school tournament. His first full season with the Hyderabad Ranji side was in 2016. Deceptive pace and the ability to move the ball meant Siraj's rise has been rapid since. At MCG, Jasprit Bumrah and Ashwin led the attack with relentless accuracy. The Australian batsmen would have hoped to get some respite from the debutants' end, but they had none of it. Siraj kept up the pressure brilliantly. Mohammad Siraj finished the Boxing Day test with figures of 3 for 37 and 2 for 40, thereby picking up 5 wickets across 2 innings. With 5-wicket match haul, Mohammad Siraj has joined Lasat Malinga in an elite list of visiting fast bowlers, taking 5 or more wickets on debut in Australia in the last 50 years. There's still a lot for Siraj to prove. He first needs to consolidate his performance at the MCG by stepping up in the remaining 2 tests as well, before making room for himself in the attack even after Ishant and Shami return from injury. Sports Desk, DD India.
Legendary MS Dhoni was named the captain of the ICC's ODI and T20 teams of the decade. Indians dominated the limited over teams by having 3 and 4 players in the ODI and T20 teams, while England have the maximum number of players, 4 in the test side. Here, let's have a look on the ICC's team of the decade. First, the ODI team of the decade. Here it is clearly dominated by the Indian players. Rohit Sharma is there, David Warner, the Australian batsman, Virat Kohli, A.B. de Villiers, Shakib Al Hasan, MS Dhoni captain in the ODI format, Ben Stokes is there, Mitchell Starc, Trent Boult, Imran Tahir and Lasat Malinga. A clear dominance of the Indian batsmen here. Rohit Sharma is there, Virat Kohli is there, MS Dhoni is there. The 3 Indian batsmen are there in the ODI team of the decade. And the test team of the decade, Alistair Cook, David Warner, Kane Williamson, Virat Kohli, Steve Smith, Kumar Sangakkara, Ben Stokes, Ravichandran Ashwin, Dale Steyn, Stuart Broad and James Anderson. So in this format, a clear dominance of the England batsmen, England players is there. 4 England players are there, Alistair Cook, Ben Stokes, James Anderson. And T20 team of the decade. Here the dominance of the Indians we can see in the T20 team of the decade also. Rohit Sharma is there, Chris Gayle is there, Aaron Finch is there, Virat Kohli, A.B. de Villiers, Glenn Maxwell, MS Dhoni, Kieron Pollard, Rashid Khan, Jasprit Bumrah and Lasat Malinga. 3 Indian players are there in the T20 team of the decade. So the white ball format was dominated by the Indians, and the MS Dhoni is captain in both the formats in ODI and T20. Well, shifting to the next segment, performance of the week. Team India did the best comeback win ever. After being all out for 36, the man in blue bounced back under Ajinkya Rahane's captaincy to win at the MCG in the Boxing Day test to level the 4-match series 1-1. The side ended the year 2020 on a high, and this is the Sports 360 performance of the week. Now it's time for 20 updates from the sporting world. New Zealand captain Kane Williamson overtake Steve Smith and Virat Kohli to the top of the ICC Test batting rankings. It's the first time since 2015 that Williamson has held the top spot. Rohit Sharma appointed India vice captain for the last 2 Test matches against Australia. Rohit was injured during the IPL and missed the ODI and T20 leg of the tour along with the first 2 Test matches. The All India Senior Selection Committee has named T. Natarajan as Umesh Yadav's replacement. Umesh Yadav sustained a strain in his left calf muscles on day 3 of the second test in Melbourne. One-day series between Australia and India women's cricket teams has been postponed indefinitely and likely won't be played until 2020. West Indies Test captain Yazan Holder is one of the 10 players who will miss the side's tour of Bangladesh because of concern over coronavirus. Tim Southee becomes the 3rd New Zealand bowler to take 300 Test wickets. 6-time champion Roger Federer will miss the Australian Open for the first time in his career as he continues his recovery from knee surgery. The Indian Wells tournament scheduled to take place in California in March 2021 has been postponed over the coronavirus concern. Slovakian tennis player Dagmara Baskova banned for match fixing. Baskova had a career-high WTA ranking of 1,117 in singles and 777 in doubles. Britain's former number 1 Andy Murray has been pulled out of the next week's ATP event in Delray Beach, but not because of injury concerns. Manchester United Edinson Cavani has been given a 3-match ban and a £1 lakh fine for the social media post containing Spanish phrase that is offensive in some context. Goa's 14-year-old Leon Mendoka has become India's 67th chess grandmaster by winning the third and final norm at a tournament in Italy. Manchester United moved level on points with Premier League leaders Liverpool as Bruno Fernandes's penalty saw off stubborn Aston Villa. A late strike from Thomas Sosek gave West Ham a 1-0 win over Everton in the first Premier League game of 2021. Former Manchester United and Scotland manager Tommy Jochetti has died at the age of 92 following a long illness. Liverpool defender Joel Matip out for 3 weeks with muscle injury. The Cameroon player will likely to be out of action for all about 3 weeks after straining a muscle during 1-1 draw against West Bromwich. 7 times Formula 1 champion Lewis Hamilton was awarded knighthood in the UK New Year's Honours list. Milwaukee Bucks set an NBA record of 29 three-pointers in a game in a 144 against 197 win over Miami Heat. Becky Hammon became the first woman to lead the NBA team after San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich was ejected against the Los Angeles Lakers. And Norway and Galatasaray footballer Omar Eldoui has been injured by a firework during a New Year's Eve celebration. He suffered burns on his face and damage on his eyes. The year 2020 will also be remembered as the year in which some highly respected and accomplished athletes left their heavenly abodes, leaving behind a huge void and glittering legacies. Here we are remembering the sporting legends who passed away in 2020. That's all in this edition of Sports 360. Before we wrap up, we leave you with some of the sporting images that headlined 2020. Namaskar.